Hey. So I'm super excited to share with you two of the most amazing, cool people I have ever met. And I'm going to introduce them to you in just a minute. I hope you are ready for a fantastic interview today. Today's training, we're going to be talking all about how to make that transition, how to make the big leap from full-time work, from your full-time career, from your part-time career into full-time entrepreneurship. So we're in a little different format here. I want to introduce you to Amber and Tommy, who are going to be blowing the lid off of everything, the ins and outs of what they did to transition into full-time coaching practices. First and foremost, I'm going to start with Amber, ladies first. So Amber is known as the Disobedient Dietitian. So she's a registered dietitian. She's had a dietitian practice for quite some time. She is now stepping into blending all of her expertise, all of her knowledge around helping people overcome chronic illnesses to step into thriving health, not only leveraging her technical know-how, but blending all of that incredible knowledge with her coaching skills to bring more healing, to help people thrive and not feel at the effect of their health challenges anymore. So she is all about bringing back people's energy, confidence, so that their lives can thrive in spite of the fact that some chronic illness has come their way. She knows her stuff and she is sharing her gifts with the world now full-time as an entrepreneur. So I'm super excited to introduce you to Amber. She's going to be coming up here into our broadcast real quick. Hey, Amber.
Hey. Hello, whoever's watching.
So glad that you are here with us today, Amber. So sit tight, Amber, real quick, because now I want to introduce our other amazing compadre, Tommy. Tommy has 15 years experience in the technology industry, including working for Google. He has been a leader in his position with IT. He's done pretty much everything from coding to all that computer stuff, another language that I don't completely understand, to project management, to team management, to leadership development, and also created his own internal coaching position within his last company, where he was an internal coach developing leadership teams, and has just had a phenomenal run with his work in IT and has now transitioned into full-time coach. But in addition to that, he also is an assistant trainer for IPAC. So you are going to love learning from him. So Tommy, I'm bringing you on up here to join our crew. And I like it in this way. Okay, perfect. Say hi, Tommy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. It's wild to hear your resume read back to you. There were those things that happened. It's such an honor to be here. I'm so excited to share my journey with you all. And it has been quite a journey. So looking forward to diving in.
Yay. Thank you two for being here, for investing this time in this community to inspire the other entrepreneurs and coaches here to make that leap, to share their gifts with the world the way that you two are and the way that you're two doing it full time now. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're just going to have a casual chat here. So everybody grab your, Tommy's got his coffee. I got my water. What are you drinking, Amber?
Watered down tea.
Watered down tea. It's not quite happy hour yet, but grab a drink of your choice, get comfortable, enjoy the conversation. We're going to have a lot of fun here this afternoon as we dive deep into exactly what it's taken to get where Amber and Tommy are today.
Totally.
So let's get started. First and foremost, I would love for each of you to introduce yourselves. We're not going to work it all the way backwards, but share what you're doing now in your business full time, who you're helping, what you're doing, what's your big out there way that you're showing up in the world now that you're a full-time coach. So Amber, let's start with you.
Yeah, so you gave me just amazing accolades. I don't know that I can even follow that. But like you said, I am very passionate about helping women just take back their life from chronic health disease, autoimmune pain, and like you said, blending the expertise of nutrition with the power of coaching. Those two are just a powerhouse of really transforming your life from the inside out. So doing that, my big vision picture is really to build a practice one day that sees clients worldwide and have several coach/dietitians working under me and just continuing to heal the world in a very big, powerful way. And doing lots of just even free trainings right now to help women understand really what's going on within their bodies and really give them their power back and really understand what's going on and what they can do to change that, give them some hope back.
Amazing. I love that. Giving women their power back. What a mission. So Tommy, fill us in. What are you doing now?
So what am I doing now? I'm going to tell you about what I'm doing now by going back 20 years. Actually, my path of personal growth and development started about 20 years ago. I read the book Way of the Peaceful Warrior, and that just had such a profound impact on me. And I spent about 18 of those years just applying it in my own world. I was in a personal growth space that was just mine, and I didn't really talk about it a whole lot. And I followed blogs and things. And then I started the coaching program. There's a whole story behind that, but started coaching. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by people that love to grow themselves, and not only love to grow themselves, but they love to help others grow. And I was just so hooked and so sold. And that's when I knew that coaching is my calling. This creates the kind of relationships and connections with people that I've been looking for, and I'm not alone. So fast forward to today, what I'm looking to do is find the most really just powerful ways to connect with people that I really resonate with and help them go after what it is they want to do. Not only just develop who they are and encourage their personal growth and help them get out of their individual bubbles, but to say, all right, cool, now that we've got a more refined version of you that's in line with your values, let's move you towards your destination. So in terms of who I'm working with, I'm going in two directions right now. One, I'm so drawn to leadership. Like Stacy said, I have a lot of leadership development experience in my past. I've been a manager. I've been a director of organizations, and working with leaders has always touched my heart. And then I just discovered that I connect so deeply and powerfully with women entrepreneurs. And I just, as an experiment, spun up a group, and it's already getting traction. So I'm very excited about going in that direction too.
Already so many nuggets just being shared in your stories that you're already sharing, like hearing from you, Tommy, that so many coaches and expertpreneurs out there think that they need to have their niche all defined and everything all perfect. And what they're already hearing is that it's always evolving, and you can go in multiple directions and see where it's landing and see where the energy is and see where the inspiration is. So you're already sharing so much. And I hope all of you that are listening deeply to not only the words that Amber and Tommy are sharing, but also the lessons that are hiding behind the words, because there's going to be a lot throughout this conversation. So that said, let's go back to that space. So both of you left your jobs, your JOBs, in the last few months. This is like really new and fresh for you to be in this full-time entrepreneurial space. So before we get into how things are for you now that you don't have to work at another job, I'd love to start with, when you think back to making that decision to leave the security, the stability of your job, of your career, what were some of the things you had to overcome or think through in order to make that really huge decision? Go ahead, Tommy, you start.
Oh gosh, so many things. I'd say the biggest one that really kicked it off for me was two things. One is committing to the dream and committing to the vision. I knew, I felt it in my soul that being an entrepreneur as a coach and creating a coaching business was my calling and my purpose. It was just deep within there. And I think the first major step was committing to that alignment, to that vision. The second was, this is very logical, I had an opportunity to cash out a lot of stock options. And so there was about to be a good seed of money that was available to me. And I was like, okay, if there's ever a time to start a business, it's when you've got a surplus of money. And there are two ways that I could do that. One was to invest in my business, get it off the ground, and understand that. Problem was, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I was like, here's another approach, is to hire a coach and hire some help. And so my first big step early on was to go ahead and hire a coach, Stacy, specifically, to start working on that. And then once I made that commitment to the universe, it snowballed from there. The next major leap was verbalizing what I was doing. That was one of the biggest fears that I had, was telling people, especially my coworkers, that this was my intention, that this was my dream, was to create a business. And it came out very naturally and very organically in the moment. And I was crying and I could barely hold myself together. But once I finally moved through that plane of verbalizing what I want to do, that's where a lot of things changed. Then there's some other hurdles that have come up along the way, but I'll leave it at those two for now.
Awesome. Amber.
Yeah, so very similar to Tommy, probably since I was a teenager or early 20s, I've always had this burning desire in my soul to be an entrepreneur. I come from a line of entrepreneurs. I swear it's in my DNA. And your 20s, you're young, you don't know what's possible. You're still learning a lot. And from 20 to, oh my gosh, almost 30 was a lot of overcoming the mental stuff of growing up and just becoming secure in who I was as a person, right? And getting grounded and knowing that I could stand under my own 2 feet, which actually led to a career change, interestingly enough, which brought me to the world of nutrition. And again, knowing very much that was where I was going to be an entrepreneur. And at that point, I actually started working a full-time job as a dietitian and a part-time practice. So I've actually been doing this on the side for about 5 years. And about 18 months ago, decided I was going to get a little bit serious, and I had a 10-year plan, y'all. 10 years. I was going to do this both for 10 years. I don't think I told y'all that. And so while I'm
keep dropping the y'alls, those are awesome.
And so, I'm working full-time and I'm building up this practice, and it's a little stressful, to say the least. And there was this moment I remember so vividly that I sat in my office at work because I was so overwhelmed and stressed. And I thought, is it worth it? Do I keep pushing this path, or do I just say I'm done and work for someone the rest of my life? And in my heart, I knew I would regret it, and I would never be able to stop the dream. So continue to push on with that. Fast forward a few months, and IPEC actually happened. In the midst of running a business and working full-time, IPEC happened with my husband, which I can't tell you how much has changed so many things in our life. But going through IPEC together really allowed my husband and I to have some very serious conversations about leaving my job and taking the bigger leap into entrepreneurship. And I already had a small practice. I knew that's where my life was destined to go. And it was really, I guess the biggest key for me was the support of my husband, knowing that he understood and was 100% on board with really making that leap.
Awesome. So Joanna's commenting on what you're saying, Amber, as far as so true commitment to your own dream. It sounds like it was a pivotal moment for you to just say, no, this dream's not going anywhere. No matter what choices I make, I'm committed to the dream. And now that you're on the other side and you've made this leap and you went through those hurdles and you went through those things that were really tough, and some of them took a long time and some of them seemed to happen really quickly. As you reflect back, how did you know that it was absolutely the time to make the decision to leave? How did you know that? Or how did you come to that place where the fears dispelled and you really just went for it? Amber, why don't you start?
For me, it was, I can't do both anymore. It was truly I'd had that moment I talked about several months before. And originally the conversation with my husband was, I need to be matching my salary before I can leave my job full time. And it was just that there's no way I can do that and maintain my sanity and a relationship and anything. And so it was really at that point of something's got to give, and what is it going to be? So there was a bit of that. And then interestingly enough, I actually posted about it in this group. This opportunity came up to work a couple days a month and replace my salary 25% or something. And so I got all excited. I'm talking to Stacy, going to coach with her, and I've got this money coming in. And that really helped me get mentally psyched up to make that transition, along with, of course, the conversations at home. And then that opportunity went away. And I think this is where fear can really sabotage you, because it was in an instant, I had put all my hopes, all my planning on this one opportunity. And y'all, if you're not married to a coach, I highly recommend it.
Plus one.
Exactly.
That's right, you
want
both
to
are
get a
married
coach.
to coaches.
Because within a few minutes, that opportunity was gone, yes, but I didn't stay there. I was able to see another opportunity that came around like literally within minutes of that falling apart. So I guess my message is that as you're mentally motivating yourself and as you're seeing these opportunities, don't let yourself get pulled down by things that maybe don't work out. Just look around for the other opportunities because they really are there. Does that answer your question, Stacey? I might have got a little off track there.
No, that was awesome. I actually quote you here. Look around. Tommy.
So actually, yeah, picking up almost where I left off, where once I had verbalized my intention to my coworkers, and that was a bawling mess, I decided to then approach my general manager. And I said, here's my intention. My intention is to leave. And I don't know when. And that's all I got for you right now. And he's very supportive, totally on board. And yeah, +1. So I am married to a coach as well. I don't know if that, I've noticed it does certainly open up the conversations, but my wife and I were nervous about me leaving. I'm for sure the primary income bringer. And so leaving was terrifying. But she told me something that really had an effect on me. She said, I trust that you'll know when it's time to leave. And just having that support, knowing that both of us are terrified, it just went so far. And this is when I really shifted over into intuition. A lot of the last 6 months have been coming from intuition. So I didn't know when I was going to leave at the start of January, in the middle of January. And by the start of February, it just hit me. It said end of February. And I just knew it. And I just committed to a date and I jumped. And having that date and that experience, and then the support just really came out from the woodworks. Did I have an income replacement plan? No, I didn't. Was that scary? Absolutely. Do I have faith that this is an opportunity to connect with people I've never connected with before and to actually attract even more abundance in all of its forms than I've ever been able to experience? Absolutely. Like that trust is just so unshakable for me. So the date was almost arbitrary when I left and really fell into trust and belief in the process. And it's carried me so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it carries me into the future.
One thing I heard both of you say that I think is so common, and it's first of all, the biggest fear is the financial stability and security. And then you both said you had believed that it had to be a certain way before you would take the leap, or you believed that you had to have the plan or the revenue replacing the job income before you could really jump. And for both of you, that wasn't the case. It wasn't what you believed it had to be before you made the choice.
Yeah.
Which is so powerful, because how many of you are listening and think, oh, once this, then I'll leave my job. And you're creating these parameters that can block creativity, really. And both of you, once you felt the support from your loved ones, it opened up and created the space for you to see the opportunities and have the faith and trust in yourselves and your abilities to know that you got this. So is there anything else you'd like to add on that piece that you both alluded to, as other people are considering that they got to have this then before they make these choices?
I will just add, because I had forgotten this piece, but talking about the spouse, for 3 months, I remember Al being like, when are you going to leave? When's your last day? When are you going to leave? And it took having that opportunity arrive and being open that there's opportunities outside of where I was. And really just that blunt realization that how longer am I going to trade my passion, my life, what I was put here to do, and put it in someone else's hands.
Right.
And so there was a lot of that as well, because we don't get time back.
Yeah, I wanted to add that, keep going back to this. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but sharing my intention of what I wanted to do, the more and more I shared it, and people could pick up on the passion, energy behind it, again, that just grew that support network so much. And people are like, oh yeah, man, you got this. And I just kept feeling that energy over and over again. I'm like, yeah, damn, I got this. And then when I thought about a lot of the reasons behind this, like Amber just talked about, it's the time freedom, it's the creative freedom, it's the abundance freedom. When you're salaried, beautiful thing. I love the stability of it. I'm so grateful for having so many years of a salaried experience. But I wanted a shift. I wanted to experience what it's like to attract income and attract it in a way that there is no limit. You can only make as much as you're agreed to salary, plus maybe some bonuses. But with this world, it's almost unlimited. And that just sounds, God, that was so exciting to even think about. And now to be in that place where I get to experiment and play and look for new ways to do that is very powerful to me.
I just want to share a couple comments with you guys as you're sharing. So first and foremost, Brooke Ashley says that her last day is next Friday, April 13th.
Yes.
So we'll give Brooke a big whoosh, whoosh. Ashley, our dear love Ashley, wants to know how to keep developing that intuition. She's hearing loud and clear from you guys. What tips could you share that helped you develop that deep intuition and that knowing and that trust that you'd be fully provided for, that everything was going to work out for your highest good? What tips do you have for people who are like, I'm just right now, it's so stuck in my logical brain. Even though my heart tells me to go, I just can't break through that. So what would you share around being able to level up into that trust and that intuition?
May I jump in here, Amber?
Go right ahead.
Because I want to plug you. So this question just recently came up and I didn't even realize I was doing it. Amber posted into our mastermind group that talk about the things that you have manifested. And because of this work, because we're working with coaches and we're surrounded by coaches that are asking us to be open and to experience, those of you who come from IPEC, those higher levels of energy where you see more of that intuition and that wisdom come through when you're surrounded by that energy. Once I paused and reflected back on all the things that I have already manifested in such a short period of time, that really helped push me over the edge before I even realized I was pushed over the edge. But reflecting on that experience, that question that Amber posed really helped just solidify that I am capable of manifesting things. Like Stacy said, I created a role in my company as an internal coach. That I didn't wait for HR to open up a position. Like I made that because I wanted to make that, because I wanted to coach people. And even working as a coach in any full-time capacity didn't exist until I set that intention and I worked to manifest that. That's been my approach recently.
Yeah, I would say that I definitely have a lot of reflection as well of all of the things that have really been manifested. I had a whole long list when I sat down and started thinking, I've done this, and oh my God, I did that, and who the hell makes that happen? And so trusting that it's happened before and that it will happen again. If it happened before, it will happen again. And so I just have that trust. Not every day is a bed of roses. Those little doubts creep up. I don't stay there long anymore, and I'm able to just reflect. And I think doing that, staying in that higher level of thinking, allows that intuition to come through louder. And it's, for me, it's still a practice. I think, Tommy, you're probably much more tuned into your intuition than I am, but it's a skill, and you just keep listening to it and acting on it. Like Stacy says, listen, act, and I get stronger and stronger. My 2 cents.
So both of you, so Amber posed that amazing question in our Art of Client Creation Mastermind, where is like, really, when you're questioning, gosh, what it really is it's success tuning. It's realizing that you have already all these experiences of manifesting amazing successes in your life. And so this is what Fashan Lakhani refers to as the reverse gap. So often we're looking forward and we're like, I have so far to go to leave our career. I have so far to go before I build a thriving practice. And we're looking forward, and that can feel demotivating. And what both of you are saying is you took time to reflect back at how far you've come, and how far you've come in really not that long of time. And that was motivating. And what I'm hearing is it created a higher level of confidence and trust in your ability to make this work, just like everything else has worked out as well. Cool.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Okay, so
if I may suggest a little action in the comments is to maybe not now, but as you look back at this video or think about it later on, start building that up, start writing the things that you've manifested and that maybe you forgot about or didn't even realize that it's something that you set an intention to make happen and you made it happen. Go.
Love that. Yes. The coach, I love it. We can't turn off that coach in us, Tommy.
Yeah, right?
Action. Do it. Yes. Cindy. Hey, Cindy, my dear friend, another assistant trainer, actually assistant trains with me in the Minneapolis market, says, taking time to journal, and yes, action always creates clarity. So whenever we're not moving, it makes sense that we can feel stuck. But so long as we're taking some steps, baby steps. For you, Tommy, what seemed like it could be a baby step was the hugest step. And it was sharing with your coworkers that you were considering not being an employee at Trimble forever. And so there's no such thing as a big or small step. Every single step that we take moves us in the direction of solidifying the decision. That's the direction you're going in. Okay, so the next question I have for you guys is, what surprised you on the other side of this decision of becoming a full-time entrepreneur?
So I would say the biggest surprise is the length of time I went. There was a few moments of, oh, what the hell did I just do? At the very end of the day when I'm leaving, a little tears, they saw in the group. But overall, just a tremendous sense of feeling like this is just the right thing and not being scared, like coming into my office every day and not having those feelings of what now, what if. Like I really haven't had that except for just a few moments here and there. I actually told Stacy, I think last week when we were coaching, that overall, I thought this was right. You're told the hustle and the Gary V, and it's going to be hard and rough and tough. And again, it's not like everything's popping up daisies, but the inner calm has been much more present, like 90% of the time. And I really anticipated having a lot more of that uncertainty and unsettledness. And it's a great place to be to really not have that going on. I think it does allow you to move forward, right? You're not projecting what ifs, but you're moving forward and making the what ifs really not come true. You're just doing it. That's been probably the biggest surprise for me.
I'd say that the biggest surprise, I had two, one mild surprise, one big surprise. Mild surprise was I didn't quite have the similar experience that Amber had. I had days of extreme elation and I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing it. I did it. I didn't have to take a shower until 10 and just reveling in that freedom of time. And then other days I just had some serious, just, oh shit feelings. Like, what the hell did I do? And some very deep fears. And the waves of that and the roller coaster of that was at times more extreme than I was expecting. The other thing, and to a degree, like Amber's talking about, you do get a lot of that Gary V kind of hustle and move and kick-ass energy and a lot of influence to do that. I too look to operate in a more balanced and effortless and flowy, intuitive way. We'll see how that shakes out. But the bigger one was that I just lost. And for a while, I thought it was related to ending my career. This was 12 years with a lot of the same people. And there was a sense of loss with that and transition with that was difficult to process. And then after I thought about it further with some fantastic coaching, I realized I had what I called goal grief. I had such a huge focused target on the goal of leaving my company and starting a business. And on March 2nd, that happened. March 1st, sorry. On March 2nd, I didn't have that big, hairy goal anymore. I knew I wanted to build a company, but like it wasn't as clear and big and bold as that transition date. And so it was a sadness for me that I had lost sight of such a powerful goal. So what I'm focusing on now is, which revealed the opportunity, right? I can see how powerful big, bold goals are for me and how unifying that is and how much alignment that brings me. And so now it's cool. I want to set that next big honking goal and know that I'll probably have a little bit of goal grief once I achieve it. And then I'll set the next big one after that. So that was a big surprise.
So that was such a huge epiphany for you, Tommy, and then for our whole group. And that also sparked some really cool stuff, because that realization of how clear are we on our goals, and how specific are we, and how motivated are we to accomplish our goals. And so you had that big goal, both of you, to leave your full-time work. And so now, if you're willing to share, this is an opportunity for you to declare to an even greater audience, both of you, as a result of the goal grief, have set some new goals. So would you be willing to share what the next big, hairy, audacious goals are that you've set for these next 90 days, 6 months?
Ladies first.
I'm sure my husband's on here. He hasn't heard this goal yet. That's how terrified I am of sharing this goal with anybody outside of our circle. I have an income goal, and it's an income goal of $85,000 within the next 90 days. And I was thinking about this today because Stacy knows it's been the rough week. It's probably been the roughest week, I think, since I started, because I had some attachment to some outcomes, and I've had some coaching at home. Thank you, husband. And it's been great, but it's a big goal. It's out there, but what's the worst that happens? It happens. It doesn't happen. I'm exactly where I'm at now. No big loss. It happens. It changes my life. So that's it. It's out there. Everybody knows. Big scary goal.
You didn't really think I wasn't going to stretch you on this call, too, did you?
I was afraid you would.
Yeah.
Tommy.
All right, Tommy, you're up.
Oh, yes. I have 2 goals, and they're interrelated. And my objective, my financial objective, is $80,000 by July 1st. So same over the next 90 days. Whoo, baby. And the second objective is to triple my audience across my online digital channels, social media and such.
Awesome. So those of you that are watching, I hope that you are like, Moles are dropping to the floor, because first of all, kudos to you guys for owning your big audacious goals, publicly declaring them, because now we know, because you both said that when I started saying my goals, then there was even more fuel, because my intention was out there in a bigger way. So
Yep.
There's a whole community here rooting for you for these next 90 days. And I love too, Amber, that you brought up that when we set these big, huge goals, Amber, you said, but I can be detached. So we can be specific, we can be bold, we can be like set really incredible goals, but we can also detach and stay in that effortless flow. So I think you two are modeling that so beautifully. Being in flow doesn't mean like, just whatever you bring me, universe, I'm good to go. It's like being clear and communicating what it is that you really want, and then allowing the co-creation process to happen, which is what both of you are stepping into. And I can't wait to watch how this all continues to unfold over the next 90 days.
Me too.
Yeah, that makes 3 of us.
Very excited.
Okay, so Brooke has a question for you guys. So I love this. Brooke says, any tips or advice on networking as a newbie? She's wanting to connect and be around more successful, like-minded people, but unsure how to approach it. So how are you guys getting yourselves out there now that you're full-time coaches and entrepreneurs?
Tommy,
I'll start this time. Yeah. So there are 2 approaches that I'm doing right now, and we've already talked about this a little bit. There's the Art of Client Creation Mastermind Group. That has been profoundly important, and I'm just going to leave it at that, important to me, because that immediately surrounds me by fabulous people who have similar goals, and we are all supporting, we are boosting intentions for each other, and having that resource is just wonderful. Now, that's not, when we talk about networking, that's more about clients, right? That's not the case here. This is more about your sole purpose support, keeping that mission going. In terms of connecting with people outside of that, I've been experimenting a ton with Facebook Lives and Facebook ads, and I don't know jack about either of those things, but I'm learning a ton. I've learned so much in the last month alone, because I've put myself in an environment to really soak that in and steep in it. So that's been a very interesting experience. I've had totally unexpected results out of things, and I'm still fleshing out what that is going to do for me. In terms of in-person networking, I'm not focusing on that right now, because I'm curious to learn, what is the online sales funnel like? And so that's where my sole focus is.
So Stacy knows I love to network. I'm the queen of partnerships, for better or for worse, I think. And I really think this is probably where some of that intuition has come into play. Really funny. Stacy and I were talking before I joined Art of Client Creations. She said, how many of your business decisions do you make on intuition? And I swear to God, y'all, I hadn't even thought about it, but 90%, think by. And I used to really overthink things. I'll give you a really good example of how you can just, even in the online space, get out and network. I bought this course. To this date, I've never taken that course. It was a do-it-yourself, but it was the most valuable course I ever bought because it came with a community, and it was a big community. And so I reached out and said, who wants to connect and form a smaller community? And so it was just that natural, I want to connect deeper. I'm going to put it out and build my own little small networking group. So that's one way, just reach out to the social networks that you have, put it out there that you're looking to be around more people like yourself, build your own tribe. And then as far as getting out, of course, there's always networking groups. And a huge lesson, something that I've really been working through, is dropping my own lens of judgment. And through dropping my own lens of judgment, as I've been going out to these networking events, again, the intuition has come up and led me to form some deeper relationships and have conversations that I wouldn't have had before. Chamber of Commerce, meetup, whatever it is that you're going to these events, try to drop that lens of judgment and listen to that intuition and let that guide you to some conversations. And that's where I've always found the magic to be. So I hope that helps.
Awesome. Great question, Brooke. So hopefully you got some ideas there. It sounds like there were two things that really made the difference for Tommy and Amber. And one is, and you're asking two different questions, like who you're networking with is not always necessarily the exact same thing as who's supporting and serving you, the like-minded, success-minded people. Supporting your soul and having that anabolic team who's in your corner supporting you and helping you really go for your goals and being accountable to your goals, however that looks for you, as well as then actually getting out there in your visibility. So Lauren has a question. What she wants to know is, what had to change about your visibility in order to make the vision alive? Hold on here. How does one spark what may seem a new personality online without it appearing out of alignment with potential clients? So what I'm hearing here, and what you guys are probably hearing, is she wants to be more visible, but it feels out of alignment because her online audience sees her as one way. So how do you make that transition from being just, hey, here I am on my profile sharing my life, to, hey, now I'm an entrepreneur going live and being visible online?
We're both excited.
I can do this. I can start this one.
Okay.
So we've talked about it a little bit. We've talked about this idea of detachment. My intention for client creation is to be an attracting force, that what I put out there resonates with the right people. And the people that it does not resonate with, that's not a partnership that's going to happen at this time. And being detached from that outcome, being willing to put things out there that are not going to resonate with people, but you also know that you're going to put things out there that do resonate with people, and trusting that's going to resonate with the right people for you, perspective that helps a lot. So then when it comes to actually creating and delivering content, it's coming from the holographic thinking that Stacey talked about recently, right? It's coming from an emotional, intuitive, and logical place. And I just deliver it. And I just focus on delivering it and let go of the rest. So I'm not trying to be anyone. I'm not trying to, and yeah, I put messages in there that I am an entrepreneur and I am a life and leadership coach, and this is what I do. And I have webinars, and I have these elements that a business has, and I talk about that, and I'm not ashamed of that. And I celebrate that, but I don't focus on that. I focus more on, I want to tell you something that's really important and valuable to me, and I hope it's valuable to you too.
I love everything that Tommy said, and I'm going to share sort of my journey of visibility and sort of the pivotal point for me to realize that if you don't get visible, you won't grow your business. And again, it's based on intuition, interestingly enough. And it actually started the whole IPEC journey too. But about a year and a half ago, I was building up my business online and I wanted a community actually. And it came out of just pure desire for connection. And so I built a group, and I think there's about 3,000 people in that group. And I started becoming visible in that group. And I've actually ended up with a whole second business out of that group. But it's allowed me to be safe and play in a space and be visible in a way that feels good and okay to me. So I needed that. Quite honestly, I wasn't ready to get in front of my friends and family. And so that was how I got started. And then once I saw the power of becoming visible, I was able to transition that into a more public forum. I'm still working on really getting visible in front of friends and family. There's some stuff that comes up around that, as Stacey and Tommy know a little bit. But the more I am putting out that this is really who I am, the more positive feedback I actually get. And so I really am just ask you, what story are you creating around what other people might think, and challenge that a little bit, because I don't know your process or your journey, but that's where I've been and where I'm at right now.
Awesome. So let me ask you guys another question. What would you tell yourselves as you reflect back, your previous selves before making this leap, and with everything that you went through to make this decision? What would you say to yourselves that you know now that you wished you would have known then?
What I would tell myself is, remember that this is a game. Remember that this is a game and that this is meant to be playful and fun. And it's all about the experience. It's about creating experiences that teach you more about who you are, creates connections. You're doing this to create powerful connections with others, to help them see how awesome they are, and to help them amaze themselves to do things they thought were impossible. And that's part of why I made this leap too. If I'm going to help coach people to take big, bold leaps, I sure as hell be ready to do the same thing myself. And I did. And so I took the leap. I'm not saying you have to do that. That was my course of thought. But it's a game. It's meant to be played, and you get to play it any way you want.
I don't know if I can follow that, Tommy. That was awesome. So I actually think I need to give this more reflection myself, but what's coming up right now is that I hid behind the fear of failure for a long time. What if I fail? Mm-hmm. And I'm in the middle of a launch right now that may go well or it may not go well. And I'm okay with that. And I wouldn't have been 6 months ago, a year ago. And it's realizing that failing is really not failing. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to expand in so many ways. And that it's not that failing is not something to be feared. It's something to be embraced as another life lesson. And that's not what should hold you back.
That's some straight wisdom there from you two. Whew. I got goosebumps as both of you were talking. Clearly also modeling how you're tapping your intuition and using your intuition. And that's what we do as coaches. We help people. We ask them questions to access that higher wisdom. And both of you access this like powerful wisdom about really the deepest reminder that you would have for yourself before you made this leap, as well as the reminder you have for yourself every step of the way now. Okay, so Victoria's wondering, when you left your full-time job, did you find you truly did have more time to focus on your business? And then after a question, she says she's been working practically full-time since high school and never really had the full attention for something she wanted to do. Now she's a mother of a toddler, really wants to experience life in a way that inspires her family and attract the abundance that you two are talking of. So when you left your full-time job, did you really find, now that you're out of it, that you have the time to focus more on your business, but still keep things in balance?
So I will take that one first, if you don't mind, Tommy.
Please.
Because, as these two know, I'm the queen of taking on more and then taking on more. I live in that world a little bit too much sometimes. And so I was literally running 2 businesses and working a full-time job, married to an amazing husband and 2 wonderful stepchildren. And so to say I have a lot of balls in the air is an understatement. And so I left work and I thought I would have all this time to work on my business. And I had so much stuff to catch up on. I think I literally sat in my office for for 40 hours the first week and did nothing but work. It was wonderful. And also, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much I'd really been taking on. And I don't recommend going my route because it will kill your health. It did for me. But I think, and I don't know you, I don't know your personality, but for me, there was a little bit of a fear that I would get a little sidetracked, I'd get a little squirreled, I wouldn't pay attention to my business, which I think is a little bit of what you're getting at. And I love what I do so much. I've told my friend, I've told my husband, I work harder at home than I ever did for an employer. Mm-hmm. I am in my office. My husband will come home. The dishes will still be undone sometimes. Says, what did you do all day? Like, I worked. Like, I sat in my chair. I didn't move. I worked. And so I love it so much. And I would also say if you have a lot going on, having that strong support system and creating what boundaries you need to set with children or daycare, putting all of that into place could really be a critical component as well. That's not a challenge I have, fortunately, but that's my 2 cents, long-winded answer to that question.
I have a short answer. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was one of the biggest motivators. I'll say that what that also did was it created more time for the things that I wanted. I wanted to be able to pick up my kids after school on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I'm done by 2:30 or 1, whatever, in the afternoon on Wednesdays. And I'm working less than I was. And in terms of actual hours, but Amber brought up an awesome point. There's something about when you're sitting down in your chair and you've got your laptop open, there's a little bit of a struggle figuring out what to work on, but you get over that. Once you choose, and actually that's the secret, you decide, you channel your intuition and decide what it is that's most important to work on and go. And the focus and the quality of the work time is much higher now than when I was at my other job. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And one more thing to add, I don't know, Stacey and Tommy, if this is true for you, but we created an amazing workspace. And so I love to be in my office. It's so awesome. Yeah. And I actually didn't realize how powerful that would be. So having that workspace that you enjoy being in, I have birds outside the window. I love being here. So that really is very important too, I think.
Oh, absolutely. That again, those of you from IPEC, you know about the SMEEPs, right? And the environmental influencer, at least my perception from coaching people, is one of the biggest influencers on people. So having that environment, it's a great point, Amber, is a big component of it. And I love that. I love that I could create my working space in a way that suits me. I've got my little candles nearby and my Himalayan pink rock salt lamp, and my couch is there. It's in the loft. Yeah, environment has a big influence as well.
Yay. Yes, yes. Great questions. So we've got more questions coming in.
Oh, baby. Keep them coming.
Yeah. Steven's wondering, in the beginning or as an experienced coach, do you ever get overwhelmed at all the tasks that seem daunting to get you to those goals? So the big goals that you just shared, when you think about all the tasks and the stuff that it takes to get there, how overwhelming does that feel? And what do you do with lack of confidences in your abilities when you're starting? Or what do you do when that confidence isn't there? So 2 questions. Mm-hmm. You guys get them. The overwhelm question, how overwhelming is it? And how do you handle those times when confidence seems to wane?
I can jump in on that. So overwhelm, absolutely. And this is so common for so many of us. When we look at our full to-do list, it's often overwhelming. It's totally normal, right? We see all the stuff that needs to be done and we think about, gosh, can I do that? Some of these things I don't even know how to do. I don't know how to launch a Facebook ad. Like any approach to that, it's about focusing, chunking, bringing it down to what's most important. And because my actual available hours to work is less than it was because I want to open up so much more free time to be with my family, that, as Larry Page likes to say from Google, scarcity brings clarity. And so sometimes when you know that really I can tackle 3 big things today, or 2 big things, or 1 big thing today, and that is okay. And being okay with taking care of that one thing makes a huge impact on that overwhelm. The second thing that has helped a whole bunch is to realize no matter what you do, it is temporary. So if you, like you talked about your prices, let's say I'm running at a certain price right now and I decide to raise my price, and maybe no clients come in, or maybe a bunch of clients come in, or who knows, let's say no clients come in, then I can experiment back down. And it's always temporary. It's always in flux. It's always changing. And so that's where we can get that detachment from our decisions. Decide, execute, put your best foot forward, but then again, let go and be willing to change and pivot and try something new. That helps a lot with the overwhelm. The confidence element, what's been coming up for me a lot more lately is I feel like, again, it's hard to think that it's only been a month, but I feel like where the energy is shifting for me now is getting support. So I had a fantastic phone call with someone yesterday who's got a great online advertising business, and he gave me so many nuggets of information. I just noticed that more people who are better at the elements of my business that I want to focus on are starting to come into my life and offer help. And so that's one of the other SMEEPs, right? The social one. And so I feel like my social resources that can help me be successful are starting to come in. So that's helping with the confidence piece. If I don't know how to do it, it seems like help is coming.
So I think Tommy was really spot on a lot of what he talked about with overwhelm. And I run a group for entrepreneurs in the health industry, and something that I see come up a lot is I have to be on all the platforms. I have to have 5,000 services. I have to be doing all the things. And what is it? A jack of all trades is jack of none. I'm terrible with saying, but essentially you can't do 20,000 things and do them all well. So, let go of that belief that you need to be doing all the things. And like Tommy said, pick a few key activities and focus on those and do them well and master them, and then move on. And approaching your business like you are the CEO. And it's something that I'm still working on getting there because I get a little squirreled sometimes. But if I was the CEO of this company, what step would I take? Who would I hire? What would that look like? And playing around with it from that perspective. I like to call that being all in, right? Just that CEO perspective. So I hope that helps with some of the overwhelm. And then confidence, sometimes you do it scared, quite frankly. You don't have confidence that someone will hire you if you raise your prices, but you do it anyway. And like Tommy said, you are the boss. You get to come back. You get to change things around. Things that you don't know, you get a book, you hire someone again. Part of that overwhelm is that I think we try to do it all ourselves. We don't have to be masters of everything. I have an amazing marketing strategist and business partner, Louisa. I love her. I would be lost. I don't have to learn that. I'm not overwhelmed, and it doesn't drive my confidence down. So it's like a win. And building that trust muscle, right? Looking back, knowing what you've done, and that, okay, I don't know how to set up a landing page, but I'm going to get on YouTube, figure it out, Google it. Now I've done it. Oh yeah, I remember I learned that last time. I can learn something else this time.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So awesome. Hope that helps, Stephen. So a couple other questions. This one could be a pretty quick one. This is from Brooke again, who's quitting her job next week. Curious what a typical day looks like for you. What are the specific tasks you find yourself working on?
Like I said, still working on mastering that to-do list. I need to book some time management time with someone. But for the most part, it's coming to my office, sitting down, and thinking about what it is I want to accomplish for the week. So if I have Facebook Lives coming up or presentations coming up, or what are those key tasks that are going to help me get to that goal, and really trying to focus on those first and then filling in the rest of the day with other little tasks. So it does vary from day to day, but I do try to focus on those big picture things first.
So when I start off my day, again, part of this is I wanted to gift myself the time to be taking care of things. So I like to start out my morning and take my time and meditate and have a breakfast and stretch or exercise or do something like that. And then when it comes down to sitting down and doing work, I'm getting a little obsessed checking the performance of my Facebook ads and stuff like that. It's getting pretty bad. I want to find ways to rein that in. But something that I'm experimenting with that I'm finding I like is to chunk my time. So I know that a certain chunk of time on Mondays is when I'm writing my newsletter and publishing it out to my mailing list. And Tuesdays, I know that I'm prepping for my Facebook Live, and I do a Facebook Live because I love experimenting with Facebook Live. That's been a totally new and fun experiment. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm still flexing with. Some of it's reactive work, looking at the reactions to social media and emails. And some of it is a little bit of research work, a little bit of experimentation. I'm doing my own graphic design right now, which is a horrible idea for me because I'm a terrible designer. That's not going to sustain. I'm asking the universe for more support in that one too. And I just flex with it day by day and experiment. But I found that chunking, like saying this hour on Tuesday or this hour on Thursdays, is very helpful because then it relieves that decision of what am I going to do during this time. It's already made that decision.
That's a great tip, Tommy. I'm gonna have to start implementing that. And I didn't add that I do like to try to eat breakfast in my kitchen and work out. Like I'll exercise first thing, or I'll come work for an hour or two and then I'll go exercise, which is like a nice way to break up the day. So I try to be flexible with myself, maybe a little too much sometimes, if we're being honest.
I love that you both touch on the power of self-care, like the importance of self-care when you're running your own business, and how and especially because we do get so excited about the work that we're doing. We can't wait to get to the work that we're doing. We can't wait to hear what we want to share. So it's like easy to put self-care because the work can feel like self-care. And so it's great that you have those things in place to make sure that you are still honoring your other self-care practices outside of your business.
Yes. And I shower daily, I put makeup on, and I wear pants with buttons.
That is so huge. That is so huge. It's amazing what that does. I'm glad you brought that up, Amber. I'll never forget my husband, probably about 2 years ago. He came home and I was like in a business slump. And he just said, when are you going to start treating your business the same way you treated your career? Get up, get dressed, prepare yourself for your amazing meetings with your clients. And it just hit me like, oh yeah, when did I decide that being an entrepreneur meant that I was just like going to slough off and not feel really confident from the outside in? So I love that you brought that up. I don't think he meant that I should get out of my pajamas, but maybe he did. It might have been self-serving suggestion. I don't know. Okay, so Betsy wants to know what she's trying to do is she's logically trying to do the math. She knows your revenue goals. So she's like, what are you offering that is allowing you to reach those revenue goals in 90 days? Can you break it down? So just real simply, at the end of the day, what are you offering that allows you to reach massive revenue goals with being able to stay super focused on those goals and reaching those goals in the fastest way possible?
I'm looking to sign 13 clients with $6,000 6-month contracts.
That was way too quick, Tommy. So my revenue goal's still a little blurry at the moment because I'm shifting it from a 6-month picture and collapsing it down to a 3-month time frame. And so there's a little bit of shifting going on. And so quite honestly, I don't have at this moment a anticipated path. My packages run from about $2,000 to about $4,000. But I have not done the math to decide I need to see X number of people to bring in X number of dollars. I'm also not getting too married to one path either because I'm playing around with speaking and I'm launching a mastermind program with my business partner. And so there's lots of moving pieces and parts. And my husband's going to cringe, cover your ears, honey. But I'm trusting that the income will come to me the way that it's intended to. And I do get tunnel vision really bad. And where Tommy's goal may really work for him, if I say it has to be 13 clients at this much, there's a huge potential for me to miss the other opportunities. So I'm doing what I know brings in revenue generating opportunities. And that's the path that I'm focused on, and I'll firm it up more, don't worry, honey, as I go along. But that's where I'm at, and that's probably not as crystal clear as a lot of you would like for it to be, but that's where I'm at the moment.
Cool.
And that's such a great point. Just to add on to that, yeah, I had those numbers pulled up, but the approach, the energy behind it is actually quite similar to Amber's. Who knows, maybe 2 individuals, but there's a leadership team at a company that wants to hire me, and it's totally different from that package. Being open to that and being willing to pivot like that is always in the cards over the next 90 days. until that information and that opportunity comes, I told you what my focus is. So being willing to shift and pivot is really important as well.
Brilliantly said. So what I'm hearing, and I know in my own experience too, when I set specific financial goals in short amount of time that can feel almost like, ooh, how is this going to happen? Having the path and knowing. So the idea of 13 clients at 6,000, that just immediately instills confidence. Oh, that's it. Oh, I can do that. And it's that belief and that confidence, like that the path being there gets the energy and the momentum moving. That said, exactly as Amber and Tommy are saying, that doesn't mean that other opportunities aren't going to show up that reach your goals quicker, or some smaller ones. It's not like hard and fast, I'm not veering off of this path. So I love how you guys said that. And the only other thing I'll add too is when you set really big, bold financial goals, especially early in your business, the fastest way to accomplish them are to keep things as simple as possible, like one high-end offering. If you're on a conversation with somebody, if you're doing a strategy session and you've got a package for $1,000 and you've got a package for $5,000, why not offer high if they feel like a great fit for your program to accomplish your goals much more quickly? So for me, because I just took this journey with a goal of 100K in 90 days, a number of months back, and it was like, I knew, even though I was not taking private clients at the time, the fastest way for me to reach that goal was to go back into taking private clients. And then halfway through, I pivoted back into mastermind models. And there were other people, because we had this big game going where a lot of us had really big goals, similar to what you guys are being able to play now in Art of Client Creation. There were a lot of people who, they actually were having more sales calls. They were working 10 times harder than I was, but their pricing was half what my offers were. So even though they were working much more hard, they weren't able to meet their financial revenue goals in the same amount of speed. So everything's just a balancing game. What's the most you can stretch yourself to reach these high level goals with your pricing in a way that feels in integrity and that is still delivering massive value, and also still not getting scared and just offering that lower stuff when you got these big goals and people are ready for it. So good stuff. Okay. What would you tell somebody who's right on the brink, or maybe going into work every single day saying, today's the day I'm going to tell my boss I'm done, or put in my resignation, and they're feeling that fear? What would you say to somebody who's right on the brink of making the decision, committing to the decision and solidifying it, that would help them?
So Tommy looks in thought. I'll go ahead. And I think, hearing that Tommy worked at Google, awesome. You would consider that a dream job. I work for the federal government, golden handcuffs. So I think Tommy and I both come from that place of having a really amazing setup that people would dream about. And if that's you, that you feel like I'd be crazy to leave this, what that truly pivotal moment for me was sitting in my office and thinking about, what if I never do this, right? There's a lot of talk about, is it scarier to stay the same or to change? And a lot of people say it's scarier to stay the same, but yet they still don't change. And if your answer is, I'm more scared of staying the same and never changing, act on it. Just, if you know that you'll live the rest of your life with regret, just do it. It's a fun ride. I'm loving 90% of it. No, it's an awesome ride. It's an awesome journey. And just really ask yourself that question and sit with it and be willing to do whatever it takes to break through the fear of stepping into what you're put here to do, and owning that and owning your life.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm going to give you the same advice that my wife gave me. You will know I have faith. I have 100% complete faith that you will know when the time is right for you. That being said, take those small actions. Write your letter of resignation and maybe let the mouse cursor just hang over the send button. And you will hit send when it's right. Let your body help encourage these actions. Because when you rest into that, you will take these actions. Sometimes you may, it sounds scary, but you may not even be aware of it. Trust that you will take that action at the exactly right time for you. And this is your dream. It'll happen and it'll unfold beautifully, uniquely, in a way that is yours and at the right time for you, and that the resources and the support and the information and the inspiration and all that great stuff will come at just the right time for you.
Good stuff. Okay, one final question before we close down. What would you suggest people have in place or look into that would set them up for the most success when they make this transition or when they make this decision or after they've made the decision and they're wanting to grow? So what are some of the things that you have in place? You've been talking a lot about your personal support system, and maybe it's your practices or whatever kind of comes to mind that really you feel is setting you up on this path to accomplish those next goals in your business.
I'll go.
Go for it.
First and foremost is investing in yourself. Whatever that looks like for self-development, trusting your intuition, just investing in yourself. And that can be hiring a coach. Two would be your support system. There's no question that is my rock. My support system is my rock. My husband, my family, wouldn't want to do this journey without them. And then third would be really to invest in masterminds, in quality, high touch, high end programs. I would tell you, I'm not a big fan of do-it-yourself courses because I never finished them, but investing in where you're going to have that personal connection and that personal support. And I'll be very honest, a huge piece of my 90-day goal is because I'm ready to go to the next level and I need money to do that. Mm-hmm. And so that is a huge thing for me, is to continue to have that support and to go into this high level type of program. So those are three key things for me.
Love it. Yeah. So actually something we haven't talked a whole lot about is money energy. Money energy is so huge in all of this. And so getting very familiar with your relationship to money is a very important part. We talked a little bit about what did you do to set yourself up, and you'll hear this a lot: build out 3 months of income, or build out 6 months of income, or build out a year's worth of income. And I was careful about that, and I built up enough runway for, if we live frugally, about 5 months, and then I have a backup fund after that. I think that was good, but also it's totally up to you in terms of your relationship. If money or even success has some negative connotations with it, look into that, because that can affect both how you invest in yourself, like Amber was just talking about, or attracting in that financial abundance. So get used to seeing it as this fun, flexible energy, that curious and mysterious and wonderful and scary, and all of the elements that come with it. So that's what's coming to mind for me right now.
Awesome. Good. We're going to go ahead and close down this week's training. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, one, it's such a freaking honor to be able to share this space with you guys. I'm just so grateful that you were willing to invest some of your most valuable resource of time into taking me up on this invitation to do this interview. I'm just so grateful that you're here today to serve this community, which is something that's just so important to me. And I know it's something that's super important to you, to give back and to just share in such powerful ways. And also just that I freaking love both of you to pieces. And I can't even tell you how excited I wake up every single day knowing that I get to work with the amazing clients like you, the amazing clients that are in your Art of Client Creation group, the amazing clients that are in the other 2 Art of Client Creation groups. I pinch myself every day that I get to connect with such inspiring, amazing, incredible souls like you two. And I don't even have words for how much love I feel for both of you. And so thank you. So any last parting words that you'd like to share before we shut this training down?
Thank you for the opportunity to come here and share. It's a journey. Some days, like we said, are absolutely amazing and other days aren't. I think it's great to talk about it, right? It's great to talk about the good and talk a little bit about the bad, and it's a great forum to do that in a really safe place. So thank you. It's awesome. Awesome to be here and do this with you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stacey. That was extremely kind, and you're pretty cool too. I pinch myself that I get to work with you and Amber and everyone else in our group, and it's just wonderful. My parting thought is very relevant to what's going on here. I've noticed that what's coming up for me is I'm being called to share my story more. I'm going to be interviewed for a podcast next week, and then there was this, and both of these things came up at about the same time. So think about that. Think about your story, because your story, and I think a big part of the reason why Stacey has invited us here is so that we can share our stories, so that it can inspire you. Share your story too. You have an awesome story to share. You have awesome gifts to share, and strengths and fears, and just an authentic you that people will love to learn about. My parting thought: share your story.
Love that.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a fantastic weekend. Let's do our big inaugural whoosh goodbye.
Whoosh.
See y'all.
Ciao.
Bye.